Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name's Deshaun, and today I'm here to give you my... Okay, this is going to be an explainer video. My explainer video on Avengers EndGame, quote-unquote, time travel plot holes. Now, this is going to be full spoilers into EndGame, so if you haven't seen EndGame, don't watch this video. Go watch EndGame and then come back and watch this video. But me and Seth saw EndGame. I put up my review. It's full spoiler because we just had so much to talk about. It's full spoiler. I put up my review, and obviously, me and Seth love the movie. We absolutely love the movie. And I'm looking around on the internet, of course, now that I know everything, I'm just kind of looking around on the internet, seeing all of these different opinions and whatnot. And there's some people who like it, and there's some people who don't. Like, John Campia had fun with the movie, but he thinks that it has a bunch of quote-unquote plot holes. And then it kind of just started to dawn on me that, and some guy said this, I can't remember his name. I follow him on Twitter, and like he posts up about MCU stuff all the time. He said it. He was like, and he said it best. He was like, MCU is like movie. This is the rules, and this is how we have to fool people. I don't understand it. That means it has to be a plot hole. That is the exact thing. Because I'm like, people are having a hard time understanding time travel in the MCU. Because they are so confused. Let me explain it to you. Let me explain how this went down. Let me explain what happened. In the MCU, they established time is not linear. Or, okay, what's the word I'm looking for? Time is not all interconnected. You can't go back in time and prevent your own birth because you were already born. So in the MCU, when you travel through time, you can't change your current time. All you can do is accidentally create another timeline with a different scenario that have played out, where different scenarios play out. So when Nebula killed, I'm full spoiler, when Nebula kills Nebula from the past, she doesn't evaporate. All that happens is now, in that time, and now there is a splintered reality where Nebula isn't there. When in the end, when Thanos and all of his people die, that doesn't mean that Thanos is dead and that none of this stuff happened. No, that just means in that time period where Thanos was, at 2014 Thanos, now there is a separate time period where that Thanos never existed. That's all that means. It does not affect anything happening here and there. And now in the actual world. So all that shit that happened, nothing actually all they did, and it's really simple. All they did was go back in time and collect a tangible and collect an object and brought it to their time. You can do that. That's why Thor was able to get Mjolnir and bring it back to his time. It doesn't magically mean that version. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden Thor doesn't have Mjolnir. That just means that there's a version of Thor who didn't have Mjolnir. But since Captain America returned it on his time travels, they closed that. Basically, as the Ancient One explained, when she had this line and she was like, if you do something different and then another thing happens, but the actual one that your line doesn't change. So basically, in a nutshell, you can go back in time in the MCU and take something and bring it back and use it fine. It'll just create an alternate timeline, but that alternate timeline means nothing to you. Now granted, the way they kind of try to explain it, which is a minor little thing, is like basically, oh well, we don't want to create those. Even though creating those alternate timelines won't affect them in the least, it was just more of a courtesy, more of a, we probably should return those things, like more of a, we still don't know quite what would happen kind of things, which to me is setting up Kang the Conqueror a little bit. But getting back to the big thing that messed with a lot of people was the Captain America being an old man sitting on the bench. Now, to me personally, because they didn't really show it, Bruce says to Cap before he goes off, that, that for us, it's going to take 5 seconds. For Cap, it's going to take however he needs. So to their perspective, and it kind of set it up at the beginning with Scott being in the quantum realm for 5 hours, and on the outside, it's been 5 years. So they already set up that the quantum realm works so differently that it's unpredictable. There's no way of really knowing what's going to happen there. And from my personal opinion, what happened is, because Steve said he returned everything, what happened is Steve basically went on that quest, He took him out, and probably took him days, maybe years to do all of these things and come back. So like it's a journey for him. It took him maybe days, maybe years to be able to do this, and he probably had to restart it over and over again. Who knows? That could be an interesting little movie on its own. Is Steve's journey. And at the end, instead of deciding to come back, he just decided to live out a life and then come back. That's what I'm saying, people. Steve didn't grow and just pop up in their universe. It's not a plot hole. He simply came back. He didn't lose the technology to come back. He simply went to he simply spent his life. He created a different, now Steve did kind of accidentally create another alternate reality. An alternate timeline. But that's still the Steve from then. He lived that alternate timeline and just came back when they wanted him to come back. It didn't change anything. He simply lived that alternate timeline. He probably took off his suit, and then he lived that alternate timeline, and then he came back. That was what the suit was for. That was what the whole regulator thing was for, was so that time wouldn't flow through you. And I'm 90% sure and I am 99% sure when I saw it, that's immediately what I thought was, oh, he went back in time, he lived in this alternate reality, and when they pushed the button, he came back. And he came back when he's supposed to come back. And he came back when they hit the button, he came back, but he had overshot it and lived in, because like he said, it's going to take Steve however long it takes, which means he's aging. I'm sure that suit was supposed to help him from the aging process, but Steve is aging. It's not. No, Steve wasn't Peggy's husband the whole time. No, this is just that version of Steve went and lived the life of another Steve in another timeline. That's all that happened. And he came back. That is it. He is still Steve Rogers from our reality. He's just a lot older because he probably took the suit off and he decided to live a life and then come back. So he's the same Steve with the same memories and everything. And Peggy wasn't married to him. And he wasn't making out with his great niece. It's still Peggy's great niece from the actual real timeline. No, that is still Steve. He just simply went. Like, that's the thing. I don't know why people are overcomplicating things. They told you that it's not Back to the Future rules, so why the fuck would you immediately assume that it's Back to the Future rules? Steve just simply came back. That's it. Why are you overcomplicating it? Why is this a huge plot hole? No, he just came back. Now, the only thing in this movie that made me kind of go, okay, that's far-fetched, but I'll roll with you on it, is the idea that all of Spider-Man's friends died, so that way when they all come back, he can have his close group, the people that we know as his close group. So when Spider-Man Far From Home happens, we can have these, they can just pretty much pick off where they left off. Now that I'll go, okay, just coincidentally. They might play with it, but just coincidentally. Though I will say, this movie does set up why people would want, how someone like Quentin Beck can come into power and, become a bigger deal. But I digress. Anywho, I just wanted to talk about this time travel thing because it has been blowing up. It only took Marvel a few minutes before everyone started to try to tear the movie down. The movie got 96%, it's got 92% audience score, it's got 96% Rotten Tomato score. It just made $360 million in the US alone. I think 350 maybe, 350 or 360. It made $1.2 billion. It has an A+ cinema score, which is the real score of an audience, is the cinema score. So and then of course there's gonna be people trying to tear it down. There's gonna be people, oh well, these plot holes and this plot hole and that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm looking at the quote unquote plot holes. I'm like, those aren't plot holes. You just don't understand. They just didn't answer your question. And one guy's complaint was, well, how would Clint's phone be? He'd have the same, his phone service would still be going after half of everything. I was like, bro, from what I saw, shit, people, it's not like half of all equipment on Earth disappeared. It's been 5 years. It's not like it's not like half of everything left. So it's not like fucking Verizon's just gonna cut their shit off because half everybody's gone, half everybody's gone. That means we still gotta sell it to that half. It's not like the power went out. It's not like it's apocalypse. It's not an apocalypse. It's just a world where half the people disappeared, and they've had 5 years to adjust. So it's not so far-fetched to me that a lot of those Verizon and all these different places, they started to adjust. What do you want me to say? There was a complaint, and like I said, some of the complaints I've seen are a little bit ridiculous, and some of them are just people kind of just not because they didn't give them a black and white answer and just write it out for them. It's a plot hole. But no, it's not. I don't know what you're talking about. No, you can't just go back in time and kill Thanos. They clearly said you can't go back in time and just kill him. He already did what he did. He's alive. You can't do that. So I don't know why so many people are like coming out with all these, ooh, this plot hole. Ooh, they broke their own rules. They didn't break their own rules. When did they break their own rules? Tell me when they broke their own rules. Like, what rule did they break? I'm so curious. I'm just sitting here going around, I'm like, what are y'all talking about? They didn't break a single rule. Oh, Loki got the Tesseract. No, yeah, he got the Tesseract. By the way, I don't know if you were paying attention while that scene was happening, you'd realize that nobody knows that Loki has the Tesseract. You know why? Because Tony got knocked out. Fucking Ant-Man was still inside Tony's arc reactor when Loki took it and powered away, and Cap was all fighting himself. No one saw Loki get away with it. Why would they be like, oh no, we gotta stop? No, all that did was create an alternate timeline that they're not aware of. They're not aware of this alternate timeline that no one was awake to see him escape. So why would they go after him? Because why would they go after him? They couldn't. No one saw him escape. And they're trying to get the fuck up out of there. And especially when all they need is a Tesseract. They're not trying to, like, you know, like the whole stopping the alternate realities things is basically courtesy. Because it doesn't mean shit to them in their timeline. The whole stopping all these alternate timelines is just courtesy. It's just Bruce Banner and Steve and all of them just being like, okay, we gotta, you know, we don't know what's gonna happen if we leave that lingering. But they did create alternate timelines. It's pretty simple. Steve created an alternate timeline. Loki created an alternate timeline. Now, when Steve went back, he did clip a bunch of them. Now, he clipped the timeline when Thor doesn't have his hammer. He clipped that. He clipped the timeline where he put all the stones back where they belonged. So a lot of those are clipped, but there's still alternate timelines out there. They're just not aware of them, and there's no way you can judge it. There's no way you can look at it and tell that there are alternate timelines, but they are. So I don't know what people are going on about this. Oh, no, they said it, and that's what it was. I don't know what the fuck you like. You're mixing your time travel shit you're mixing your time travel shit. They told you it's not that, and it's not that. I don't know how the fuck the big deal is, but thank you for joining me on a Comic Gamer Movie Show. I just wanted to explain this Avengers time travel, quote-unquote, plot holes that aren't really there. Now, sure, could they have, like, stopped the movie and, like, had a whole explainer, like, no, I decided to go back, and I still had the equipment, and when you called me, I came back to this time like I was supposed to. Like, could they have stopped the movie to go into great detail when Steve came back about it? But I got it. It's just like at the beginning of the movie with Captain Marvel. If you saw Captain Marvel, you know she shows up. You know when she shows up and confronts, and, you know, says, where's Fury, to the, you know, the remaining Avengers, when she says that, Cap still has a full beard. And when she gets back with Tony, Cap shaved it. So logically, if you use your brains and you've watched these movies, Rocket probably just told her, we got a ship out there. Tony, we got survivors out there. If they're out there, they're probably going to be on Benatar. I got a tracking device on it, but I can't get to it because the technology on this planet are very limiting. Bada bing, bada. And the only person who could and the people who could create the technology are all gone. Shiri's gone and whatnot. So she's like, okay, I'll fly up there and get them. Like, they didn't have to explain that to you. If you just use your brain, you can figure it out. Anywho, thank you for joining me on the Comic Game Movie Show. Like I said, I don't know how people are getting this freaking space travel stuff. It's like this time travel stuff confused. It makes sense. If you literally just listen to what the fuck they're saying. But anyway, like I said, thank you for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like and subscribe. How did you enjoy Endgame? I loved it. Please comment below. Do you think it's going to be Avatar? Because I fucking hope it does, just to shove it in James Cameron's stupid, snotty, uptight, upper crust asshole. You know, he made some great movies that I love. But man, that guy's become a dick in the last few years. Thank you for joining my Comic Movie Show, and I'll see you in the next one.